Coming up on 5 Minute News. China leader awards himself an unprecedented third term. Pelosi questions if Trump will appear before Capitol riot inquiry. And Johnson drops out of the race to become the next British Prime Minister. It's Monday, October 24. I'm Santa Templeton. There are concerns the world faces the prospect of more tension with China after Xi Jinping awarded himself an unprecedented third 5-year term as leader of the ruling Communist Party. Xi has tightened control at home and is trying to use China's economic heft to increase its influence abroad. Washington accused Beijing earlier this month of trying to undermine US alliances, global security and economic rules. Activists say Xi's government wants to deflect criticism of abuses by changing the UN's definition of human rights. At a Communist Party Congress, Xi gave no sign of plans to change the severe zero-COVID strategy, while calling for more self-reliance in technology, faster military development, and protection of Beijing's core interests abroad. He announced no changes in policies straining relationships with Washington and Asian neighbours. Xi's government has jailed dissidents, stepped up internet censorship, and crushed a pro-democracy movement in Hong Kong. Its social credit initiative tracks the public and punishes infractions from fraud to littering. However, analysts have pointed to the economic challenges China is facing, from tension with Washington, curbs on China's access to Western technology, an ageing population, and a slump in its vast real estate industry. The House of Representatives Speaker has suggested former President Donald Trump will fail to show up to the January 6 Capitol riot inquiry. I don't think he's man enough to show up. I don't think his lawyers will want him to show up because he has to testify under oath, Nancy Pelosi said on Sunday. We'll see if he's man enough to show up, she added. On Friday, the Select Committee announced that it had issued the subpoena to Trump, giving him until November 4 to submit a wide range of documents related to his activities before and after the deadly January 6 attack by the former president's supporters. The panel also informed Trump that it wants him to appear for testimony on or about November 14. Since he lost the 2020 election, Trump has insisted he is the victim of widespread voter fraud, an allegation that has been dismissed by scores of court cases and audits. The violence at the Capitol erupted as Trump supporters attempted to stop Congress from formally certifying Democrat Joe Biden's decisive win in the presidential election. Other reports over the weekend have suggested Trump could face prosecution by the US Department of Justice over several criminal offences. Former Treasury Chief Rishi Sunak is the strong favourite to become Britain's next Prime Minister, the third this year, at a time of political turmoil and severe economic challenges. He could win the contest as soon as later today, as his only rival, Penny Mordaunt, races to get the needed 100 backers. It follows the former British Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, announcing he would not be running to lead the Conservative Party again, a job he was ousted from a little more than 3 months ago. Late Sunday, he said he had amassed the backing of 102 colleagues, more than the threshold of 100 needed to make a ballot of lawmakers on Monday. But he was far behind Sunak in support and said he had concluded that you can't govern effectively unless you have a united party in Parliament. The prospect of a return by Johnson had thrown the already divided Conservative Party into further turmoil. He led them to a thumping election victory in 2019, but his premiership was clouded by scandals over money and ethics that eventually became too much for the party to bear. Liz Truss, who beat Rishi Sunak to be named the leader of the Conservative Party just weeks ago, quit the job on Friday. Her tax-cutting economic package caused turmoil in financial markets, was rapidly abandoned and obliterated her authority inside the governing party. Many Indians are delighted at the prospect of Rishi Sunak becoming the first person of Indian origin to become British Prime Minister, just as Hindus across the world celebrate Diwali.
You can subscribe to 5 Minute News on YouTube with your preferred podcast app. Ask your smart speaker or enable 5 Minute News as your Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill. Subscribe, rate and review online at 5minute.news. 5 Minute News is an Evergreen podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.